So we're gonna do the same thing as we did a minute ago. So you're still in the 90-90. You can use the foam roller. I think it is helpful for you to have the foam roller to kind of just isolate the rib cage and then the hips a little bit. So for you, because you drive from here a lot, so that you kind of move the pelvis instead of the hips, which pulls into your low back, and then the spine into the sacrum, and then back into the hips is another whole like little communication pattern. So we use this little tiny twerk to stop you just overusing your pelvis for your hips. And then we're trying to get your hips to experience external rotation that on a pelvis that can open without going into a real tuck, because tuck is internal rotation, pelvic floor lifted, diaphragm engaged, it's all of that. So you can't be here and expect this kind of orientation. That orientation needs like the anterior pelvis. So we kind of just need to get all of that working together a little bit more. But I think it's really important for you and for lots of people, but to get it in small ranges of movement. So it doesn't have to be with a 2.5 kilo. A 1.25 is probably good for you. But I think weight is important because you need the load. It's helpful reference. So you're keeping this, and then you're taking the leg forward, letting the pelvis open, letting the hip lift, and then finding like right there is your point. So you start to come away and you're controlling it, and you let this come back a little bit. And I want to lose my tuck, and then I bring it back. And so I kind of keep that orientation a little bit because I want you to keep a fairly neutral pelvis without changing the tuck too much as you do this, but we're going to control it with the in flare, out flare of the innominate. We're going to really try and accentuate that. And I could bring my leg down a little bit more and really try and accentuate this, but out a little bit more. Okay, and then I start to reverse it. So I want you to kind of play with that. Okay. Then I want you, please, to what we did from that first session was, or like this last session, session before, was finding this position in a squat where you kind of almost feel like your head of your femur is just like you pushed back on that upper thigh, right? And you let the head of the femur drop back. And so I'm going to get you to do that. Come into a squat so that your butt just touches the wall, and then come down a little bit. And then you're going to do that same thing where you really try and kind of get the pelvis open and then the hips open, and just give yourself a little bit of resistance if you can, right? And then you're just going to hold that. Yeah, you're holding that resistance. And you're just keeping all of that awareness. It's like this whole side is pushing more back into the wall. And out, and trying not to grip at the front. Okay? Just finding the level at which you can make that work for yourself. You can then take it into, right, let's do the complete opposite, where you're back against the wall, but then you're like really tucking under, really squeezing in. Yeah. And it's quite helpful to do that and then go back. So come right out of it, then go back to this one. Get your... And it's just that really helpful kind of pressure on your upper thigh, left butt to the wall, find your happy place, and then just really stick that left side to the wall, just keeping this. So you're not just going to like immediately go into an arch or flare your ribs. For you, it's going to be about your ribs, right? You're just really trying to keep that like out flare. into external rotation. Then you're going to add a little bit more load. So have your kettlebell like kind of near you so that you're almost like going to be going into kind of like a sumo deadlift type thing. So you get that same positioning, you're probably a little bit wider. Get that same like pressure. Let the na. Let this open so you're not fighting it. Make that bit of your pelvic floor work. Now you're coming down to get it, right? Mm-hmm. Now that's going to be your challenge. So if you need to start by lifting it up, just that. So it doesn't even need to be much more upright. I just want you to get used to that kind of leverage, but holding your position, and always have the wall as a reference. So you've got that left butt cheek back, the femur going back. Cool?
Yes.
Sweet.